We're going to get into a guide, guys. We're going to be going over curse staff today.
What's the command for your curse guide, love?
The command for the curse guide is Bacon's going to make the curse guide. If you're Midstorm77, you know, thanks for the comment on our YouTube, by the way. We are new streamers. We're new to YouTube even, so we do appreciate the comments.
Getting started, so we love knowing what you guys want to see.
And if there's a build that we haven't made, guys, feel free to ask. We will make a stream for you. So
yes,
like this is, I'm glad you asked for curse, because curse is actually
not forgiving.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! I see how this is. You know, this is one take. This could be a questionable.
Don't worry, love. They just come to watch me anyway.
Everybody comes for Scarlet. They're like, we need Scarlet to make a curse guide. It will be way funner than Bacon's guide.
I got my Death Givers. I'm happy.
All right, Midstorm77, this one's for you.
All right.
All right, curse. You know, you were asking about, say, a solo small-scale PvP guide, and I'm like, this is what Bacon does. So finally a build that Bacon can talk about. So for my small-scale PvP, if you're gonna 1v1, 1v2, and if you're solo farming and you just need to be consistently farming, this is the build I'll suggest to you. So there's a few variations of it. This is the thing about curse you got to remember. There's a lot of good curse staff, so everything's very situational. So say anything from solo PvP to large scale group, depending on if it's PvE or PvP, the build can change. So it's something like, this is my favorite. If I only had one build, this is the build I would probably play the most of any build. So, but let's go over weapons. The Curse Skull is probably my favorite soloing weapon in the game. So your E on it, the Haunting Scream, is an AoE that kind of slowly moves. It deals damage per second, and then an additional 2% of the enemy's max health as well, which is just a lot of damage. So a little bit long on the cooldown, but it does consistent damage, which is super nice for Curse. So let's go over the first abilities here. Vile Curse. If you've played Curse before, I'm taking it most people have. You can stack it up to 4 times. So my version, or my favorite, is the Curse Sickle. This is more of a skill shot. Like, you have to throw it out there. But when you get the hang of it, you get 2 ticks instead of 1. It's a little bit longer on the cooldown, but usually you can get your 2 stacks on, especially in PvP situations. It's something you can kite away so you can be moving and still use the ability. And if you guys have watched any of our streams, you've seen Bacon kill several people by just kiting them around. So
yes, he's very good at
for your W ability. For PvE, Armor Pierce is like the way to go. So for PvP, I would either go with Desecrate, which is more or less like a snare that applies Vile Curse, or go with Grudge, which more or less puts a shield. As somebody's attacking you, it does more damage to them, and it stacks, which increases the damage they take. And as for your passives, remember, a nice thing about Curse, it's one of the few caster weapons that actually has energetic on it, which means every time you attack, like normal attack, you restore energy. So a nice thing about Curse is you're not going to go So remember that. I usually run with Furious for increased damage on spell activation, or I run with Bane on auto attacks. It just does an AoE damage around it. So depending on how you're going, one of the things I like about this build, and we'll go over the gear slots itself, is you can take damage and you can recover from taking damage. So Helm slot, Graveguard Helm, is probably my favorite for sacrifice. You restore 25% of your health, and it costs your own health. So remember, you can self-cast this, which is a great way to top off. If you guys go watch any of the clips of me fighting anybody, usually it involves a heal from Bacon, you know, topping myself off. So we run toughness with this. Chest piece wise, Cleric Robe, Everlasting Spirit. It's pretty much an invincibility. You put a shield on yourself for 1.5 seconds, and it increases your healing by 30% and your damage, which scales with the sacrifice. So before you ever sacrifice, make sure you get your Everlasting Spirit on. Sacrifice Yourself, which more or less tops you off. It's like 1,000 heals, so it's super nice. And then the other bread and butter of this is the Guardian Boots, and this works really, really well. If you're wanting to go out and solo mobs, you can just stay in the action all the time because you can get your mana back. You have a way to heal yourself up as a caster DPS, and you have a lot of just sustain so you can stay in the fight. So, and go with Giant on your boots, more or less doubles your HP for a period of time, which is super, super nice. And toughness on this as well. So we go damage on the chest piece. And then cape wise, this is where if you're doing solo PvP, run with the undead cape for the fact that you just vanish. When you get low HP, you more or less disappear, so you can drop aggro on mobs. If you pull too many mobs, you can get away. And sometimes in PvP this can be really nice also, because it gives you a chance to move away, let your cooldowns recover again, so, or you can just disappear and get out of there. So my replacement for the cape wise, Martlock cape is a good replacement, which as you get low on HP, it increases your defensive. So, and then another replacement, if you're running damage on your passives instead of mana, you can always go with the Limehurst cape, which just restores your energy more or less, so which is a nice thing. Situational wise, that's more of a PvE variation if you want. Now if you're only wanting to do player versus environment, so doing PvE only, swap your stuff up a little bit. So usually if I'm doing that, I'm going to go with the Druid's Cowl with the Circle of Inspiration, which is more or less just an AoE, a support, give your group mana more or less is what it is. So run damage on that. And then I run with the Royal Robe. And the reasoning for that is a lot of people say, Bacon, why don't you run Druid Robe? Well, the thing about Curse Staff you're going to learn is it's really, really hard to get your 8 stacks on a Druid Robe. So, and if you're playing, Curse is kind of that, you can do damage, yes, but you kind of have that support role also of piercing armor, using your armor piercer, getting the resist down on a target. And it's one of those things that if you run with the Royal Robe, it increases everybody's damage and their magic attack, so the cast speed gets increased, which is super nice. So, and then we can talk about other weapons as well. You know, I enjoyed the Damnation Staff also, which one of the nice things that scale with this, the Cataclysm is a long cast time, you know, 2.5 seconds. It's probably one of the coolest animation casts in Albion, though, I will say. It is pretty sweet. I mean, yeah, it's pretty awesome, guys. But it's one of those that you need a little bit of cast speed increase when you're using it. So, and then let's talk about another variation of this. If you're wanting to say group PvP, GvG, let's go with that. Let's go with GvG. It's been so long, guys. Bacon forgot what it was like. My favorite, say, cheap budget PvP weapon for Curse Staff, hands down, is the Great Curse. Just for the fact that you can get Vile Curse up so fast and you can maintain it. So you can keep the pressure. Curse is really not a finishing weapon. It's more or less a pressure weapon. So if you play a lot of Curse, you more or less keep their team at half HP and let somebody else like Daggers, whoever's your bruiser, finish the person off. So you're just about keeping pressure on a whole entire team. So Great Curse Staff is a great weapon. Curse Sickle, you can keep the stacks up, and this hits more than one target. The thing about Vile Curse, it's single target, so you put it on one. With the sickle itself, you have to hit it, which learning how to hit it or where to time it, and it goes where you're at. So if you move, it goes back to your original position. So you got to get used to how it plays, but it's good to get stacks on multiple targets. So you can get 2 stacks up, you can desecrate them, lock them in place, and then throw your 2 stacks out. We're going to do some PvP here in a bit so we can go over some of this. But then you keep your stacks up. Yes, I will, my dear. And the bread and butter of this right here, Area of Decay. It's more or less a cast. You have to sit and channel it. And anybody in here is getting stacks of Vile Curse. So you can put 4 stacks of Vile Curse on everybody super fast. This is more of a team-based build. So Knight's Helm, Displacement Immunity, a great ability for your whole entire team. Then I usually go with Mage Robe. You still get that increased damage, 58%. And Purging Shield, it's a great ability. So if you have any melee bruisers on you that are using Fury or anything like that, it more or less cleans it off of them. It's just a purge on everybody who hits you. So aggression, always go for damage with Curse, guys. And then Delayed Teleport. If you guys have not seen us use it, Delayed Teleport is hands down better than Teleport any day of the week. So if somebody goes to fling you and you use your Delayed Teleport, they can fling you and you'll still go to the position you clicked. So depending on what they're using for a tank, if they have knockbacks, kind of gets you out of the fight for your heals to top you off. So, and Martlock Cape's the way to go for your larger PvP stuff. And if you're going ZvZ, guys, go with the Curse Skull. Like, if you get a nice Haunting Scream on a giant group of people that your tank locks down, it's so much damage. So you can like half health the group like instantaneous. So it's a really nice ability. So, and if there's something I didn't go over in this or you want to know, but if you want Bacon's bread and butter build, I mean, this is it hands down. I run with this if I'm out direwolf farming.
It's his favorite gear set.
It's my favorite if I want to fight. like it's not the best runaway build. Like, this build's not designed for somebody that runs. But if you want a 1v2, you want to fight people, or you just want to go farm mobs, and you have a dungeon that you like to farm, like, this build has the sustain, you have the healing ability, and the fact you can just stay on the mobs. It's really good at killing bosses, things like that. It's probably my favorite build in the game, so I play it a lot. If you guys watch our stream very often, you'll see me black zoning with this. I play this build. I like it a lot, so I mean, if you get ganked by a Zerg, odds are you're gonna die anyways, so why not have fun with it? So, you know, it's one of those things. If you guys play Albion long enough, there's no such thing as a fair fight in Albion. It's usually like 5 people versus 1 person. That's like a typical gank in Albion. Like, if you get away, you know, it happens, but odds are you're gonna die. So this is one of those. I like to take a few people with me if I can. So good luck, guys. Everybody be safe. You guys all have a good night.
Good luck, guys. Have a wonderful day. All right, we got our serious faces on. I can see Bacon concentrating.
Guys, Bacon's gonna have to. Yeah, well, the only time Bacon does evil, babe. Like I sense it today. Like, there's, and you're, even the laughing is evil, babe.
I'm sorry. I enjoy.
Guys, Scarlet's scary. Just so you know, like she scared half of Sun into a different guild. Like a guild came to be like, let's make an alt guild. Let's call it something else. That's because of Scarlet. Are you here?